Hello, my name is Haley Wolf, and today I will be presenting you the impact of mirrors on dancers. So, I wanted to start the presentation with the positive aspects of mirrors. For teachers, the benefits of using mirrors as an instructional tool has been used for many years. It allows the opportunity to easily situate themselves to view their dancers at one time, as well as it allows the dancers to look at themselves and their teacher at the same time while learning combinations. Um, Looking further into the benefits for students, mirrors can be used as self-evaluation tools. They allow immediate visual feedback, which helps improve technical errors, such as allowing to correct their placement, see the lines of their bodies, and just evaluate the shape of their movements. Mirrors also give a reference point, whether that is giving a reference point of where the audience is or just giving an overall orientation of the space to allow success in doing combinations on like whether that's doing it from the right side or to the left side or across the floor. It gives a front and a back of the room and it sets up success for the dancers in a learning environment. Now, going into negative aspects of mirrors, which is what most of my research was on, there are two main aspects of what a mirror does to a dancer, and that is it can create body image issues and can also result to performance issues. In terms of body image, mirrors heighten self-consciousness. They develop negative feelings about one's body. They can create body objectification and they can also create competition. And for performance, mirrors can cause distraction and they can also disrupt proprioception. So, diving deeper into body image. Body image is the perceptions, thoughts, and feelings we have about our bodies. A dancer's personal view of their own body is a very important part of not just their psychological well-being, but also their dance performance, where it can either it could help or it can hinder their dance performance. Now, with that said, we go into how mirrors can heighten self-consciousness. This can cause a dancer to become overly critical about the way that they look, and as a result, it can lead to developing negative feelings about their body. This factor can develop eating disorders such as anorexia, which is most commonly seen in ballet dancers because of the demand of that perfect, petite, long, and slender body type that professional ballet companies seek. Um, Mirrors can also lead to body objectification, which is where an individual sees themselves externally as an object, which can also lead them to imagining how others view them in comparison with others, which can also lead to competition. So here is one of the studies that I looked into that had to do with the impact of mirrors on body image. So this study was done in 2002. It consisted of 21 women in a beginning ballet course. They split the classes into a class with mirrors, which had 8 women, and a class without mirrors, which had 13. So now these women, when they signed up, they were unaware that one class was being taught with a mirror and the other was being taught without. They were all instructed by the same professor and they took a body self-relations questionnaire at the beginning of the 14-week course and at the end of the course. At the end of this study, the results showed that the class with the mirrors had a decrease in body satisfaction by 75%, and the class without mirrors still had a decrease, but it was only a decrease in satisfaction by 23%. So this study suggested that using mirrors during instruction can lead to an influence on dancers in an increasingly critical manner towards their bodies. Moving forward onto the negative aspects that mirrors have on dancer performance. So starting with the definition of what proprioception is, it is the sense of self-movement and body position, which is also referred to as kinesthesia. I hope I pronounced that correctly. So the way that mirrors affect proprioception is when a dancer uses the mirror too much with their training, it can disrupt their skill development, and the mirrors can become a so-called crutch to them. When a dancer is so dependent on the mirror, it also disrupts their internal kinesthetic feedback and does not allow them to focus on the feeling of movement. So they become more dependent on seeing what the movement looks like. This can also lead to distraction. Again, when a dancer pays attention to the image of themselves in the mirror, it brings a self-consciousness that can overpower the feeling of the movement through the space, and it can disrupt the artistry of the movement or the expressiveness that you look for in performance quality. So here are the results of one of the studies I looked into on the effects of performance when teaching with a mirror versus without a mirror. So this study consisted of 27 women and a beginning ballet college course. The class with mirrors had 13 students and the class without mirrors had 14. Again, both classes were taught by the same professor. All of the dancers were given an adagio combination and a grand allegro combination that they worked on throughout the entire semester, and they were videotaped performing these phrases at 5 weeks and then at 14 weeks. When it came to the evaluation process, there were two evaluators. One was the professor, and then the other was a blind reviewer who had no knowledge at all of the classes having a mirror versus not having a mirror. The results of the study showed that in the non-mirror class, there was a significant increase in the scores, and in the mirrored class, there were no changes in the scores at all. So therefore, the results suggested that the use of mirrors can negatively affect the confidence levels of the dancers and subsequently decrease their skill acquisition. All right, so as for my own personal reflection of this semester, that we've had while taking Zoom classes, I've started to realize that I'm not as concerned about my body image as I usually have been in the past. And that's honestly one of the main reasons why I chose this topic to research, because I was curious if the mirrors had to do with that. I've also noticed that I've been feeling more connected to my body, and I've really enjoyed not having a mirror in front of me because I can focus on that internal kinesthetic feedback as well as just really enjoy the feeling of my movements themselves. Um, I've also noticed that I have started to not be as self-conscious of a dancer as I used to be, and that I'm really blossoming into the dancer that I want to be. So personally, I've really enjoyed being forced to take dance classes over Zoom, and also just having our outdoor and indoor spaces that don't have mirrors. So yeah, I hope that each and every one of you have experienced a little bit of what I've experienced this semester. And yeah, that's my presentation. All right. Thank you, everyone.